And welcome to our live studio audience for another exciting edition of Did You Know? And here we go with round one. Did you know?
The COVID vaccine is free and easy to get. You don't need insurance or an appointment to get your vaccine. Vaccines are available at many locations near you.
And now we're going to double the value. Did you know?
The COVID-19 vaccine is always free of cost. You can visit pharmacies, community health centers, and other health providers in your neighborhood.
And now for the lightning round. Did you know?
The Delta variant of COVID is a mutation that has health experts worried because it's twice as contagious.
Then for our finale. Did you know?
The best way to protect yourself from the COVID Delta variant is to get fully vaccinated. Get your vaccine today.
Find out more at kingcounty.gov/vaccine. Did you know?
Rainier Avenue Radio presents All Music, All Day Saturday. Music, All Day Saturday.
This is Edwin Bailey, Bulldog Blue.
Jazz from the Cabinets.
That's right. It's time once again for Jazz from the Cabinets with Big Poppy.
Star Time.
Thanks for tuning in. My name is Paul Pierce. This is Star Time.
Saturdays, all music, all day. Reggae Hour. K-Fox Night.
Looking for the perfect beat? Yeah, it's the beat of the box.
Fresh Juice. D-Money in the group.
Myself, D-Money. Nice Size Patron.
Taylor Hart.
This is Spencia. The Northwest Rap Gang.
DJ Medina. Chad Cheddar. Northwest Rat Gang.
Sergio Lacour's Love Line.
It's Sergio's Love Lines with Sergio LaCour. Go to the phone line. Tell her who we talking.
Sea Monster Radio. Mo Jams. It's your jam.
We're live. Welcome to Mojo Mondays. This is KZ of KZ Music Media. Caller Goddess for Mojo Mondays.
Just my opinion. God is inspiration. All day and all night. Saturdays on RainierAvenueRadio.org.
Atlantic Street Center has been serving the children, youth, and families of the Seattle-King County area since 1910. We partner with families and communities to raise healthy, successful children and youth through services including counseling, early learning, youth development, domestic violence, and education support for school-aged children. Committed to serving the African-American community, Atlantic Street Center provides services and support for all marginalized people. Learn more at AtlanticStreetCenter.org.
Live from Upper Left USA, you're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Welcome to Real Estate and Money, a half-hour program on Rainier Avenue Radio.world designed to help you whether you're a buyer, seller, investor, or renter in real estate. Your hosts are two local professionals who will escort you on your journey. Violeta Strash, who has years of media advertising and marketing experience and brings this extensive knowledge to John L. Scott Real Estate and all our clients. And Tina Lombard, who is a mortgage loan originator with Guaranteed Rate Affinity, with over 28 years of experience. And now here's Violeta and Tina.
Oh no. Hi everyone. Is Tina on the air with me? Where is she? My background is a little funky right now. I'm too far away from my screen. Anyway, I'm waiting for Tina to get on board, but in the meantime, you know what? Wanted to welcome everyone to Real Estate and Money every Tuesday at 2:30 on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. You can catch us. We talk about what's happening in the housing market, and Tina talks about the mortgage, the financial side of what's going on here. And I'm going to get off. Tina, say hi.
Hi, how are you? How is everybody doing? Okay. Yes. It's a crazy, crazy day.
Yes.
For mortgages and everything else, I'll bring you up to date with that. But just wanted to say hi, everyone.
Okay. So what's happening in Denver? Anything exciting? I'm going to move this thing out of the way.
Well, it's funny because the last couple of weeks we've had some serious lightning storms in the afternoon. I'm talking about for a whole month. It's maybe 100 degrees in the morning, and then by 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, thunderstorm, lightning storms that will last for like 2 or 3 hours, just straight for like 3 hours. And that's been happening for a whole month. And finally this week, it's like everything stopped, and now it's pure sunshine. So we're all getting out there acting crazy, going to festivals, enjoying the sun. Thank God here in Colorado, most places have got air conditioning. So
Okay.
yeah. So we
Talk about air conditioning. Yeah, it's been hot here
mm-hmm.
in Seattle. We've been in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a little muggy at times, but trying to get everything worked out. And I am maneuvering around here. Sorry, folks, because my screen just was not working. Here we go.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, let's go. I'm going to give you guys an update on what's happening in the market right now. And then Tina will talk about mortgages, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I am looking at King County. So for the last 2 weeks, we weren't here last week. We had some special programming going on at the station. But in King County, the past 2 weeks, we had 1,042 homes active, 897 sold at an average price of $1,143,000 versus $1,136,000 in King County in 2021. That's a 0.5% increase. Not very much, but it's still up there, remaining strong. Days on the market in King County, 20 days last year versus 15 days this year. That's a 5-day difference. Percent of listing price, 104% last year versus 105.6 this year. And then showings per listing, we saw 14 showings last year, and it's about the same this year, 13 and a half showings before you get your house into the pending status. Now in Pierce County, we are looking at 557 homes on the market listed in the past couple of weeks. 493 homes sold at an average price of $640,000. That is a 7.4% increase from last year, which was $596,000. In July, days on the market, 5 versus 6 this year. And percent of the list price last year was 102% versus 101 this year. So a little downtick, but still pretty strong as far as pricing goes. And then showings per listing, we had 11 last year, 11 days versus 8.5 days this year. And then last but not least, in Snohomish County, we had 497 homes active in the past 2 weeks, 443 sold of what was left over of that inventory. And then the average price it sold for was $834,000 versus $811,000 last year, 3% increase year to year. Days on the market, 17 last year, 13 this year. That's just a small margin. Everything's kind of catching up, right, Tina? Yeah. And then the percent of the list price, 104.5% versus 105%. So still 5% over the list price is what we're seeing. Showings per listing is 15 showings last year versus 12 this year. Everything's kind of evening out. Mm-hmm. What's going on in your world, Tina?
Okay. Well, if you can bring up my link there really quick, Daniel, you'll see that the interest rates are doing crazy things right now. Of course, the Federal Reserve met just recently, and they said they were going to be raising the interest rates. But what did they do? They actually went down. But if you look here, it looks like the APR right now, the average 30-year rate is at 4.9, right? 977. The APR is 5.060. So that's how rates were as of this morning. This afternoon is a little bit different. The rates are starting to move back up. So, yeah, they're, everybody got so excited this morning. Everybody was like, "Hey, the rates are going down." And then this afternoon, we started getting Fannie Mae is changing their rates for the worse. Freddie Mac is changing the rates for the worse. This bank, that bank, this bank is changing the rates for the worse. Now, they're probably going from 5% to 5.125 or 5.25, which still considerably it's down from last week, which was like 5.5, 5.6. So, as you can see there, you got the 30-year is at 4.975, 20 years at 4.7, 15 years at 4.2, and then some adjustable rates are like 5%. right now, it doesn't really behoove you. It doesn't really give you any advantage to do an adjustable rate mortgage because a 30-year to 20-year is just almost as good. As you can see, between a 20-year and a 30-year mortgage, the rate is not really that much of a difference. So go ahead and take the 30-year rate. So when rates start going below 5% or below 4.5%, really the 20-year, the 30-year, it's kind of the same. So right now, the 30-year mortgage is at a very good rate. And I'm done with that, Daniel, so thank you. But this drives our point home. We were here a couple of weeks ago. We were saying how the rates were at 6.7, 6.2, 5.9, 5.8. And people were saying, oh, no, we better not do a loan right now because the rates are so high. But those people who actually listened to our advice, they went out and got homes, they got their property, and now they are locking at a much lower rate. So do not let what the rates are at right now define whether you get a house or not, because by the time you write that contract, you may take advantage of the rate dipping as they did as evidence in the last couple of days. But now you got the house under contract when everybody else was scared. So that is my mortgage update for today. Mm-hmm.
So we had some serious things happening in the world besides the war. Mm-hmm. And Tina, you might want to let everyone know what's happening in the Philippines.
Yes. So the Philippines, if you have been able to see CNN, and I'll go ahead and send you a really quick, here we go here, a link. Let me send you a real quick link. There has been a 7.0 earthquake in the Philippines. That was in the northern region of the Philippines. And Daniel, can you pull up that link for me really quick? That's there. So I believe it killed 5 people and injured dozens. So I think there's 131 people that were, what does it say here? Here you go.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's still over 15,000 people who are displaced. 5 people killed, 131 people seriously injured. And even though that doesn't sound like a lot of numbers, we're all impacted by those who live in the Philippines. We still have a lot of family in the Philippines and friends in the Philippines. You have 15,000 people who have been displaced. Now, this may not affect your family or your friends directly, but somewhere, somehow, you're going to be related to somebody. This has touched somebody. The economy is going to be interrupted there. There may be a family member there that's displaced. They're going to need care. And so, first of all, we want to ask everybody to please send prayers their way, send good intentions and hope. And if there's anywhere that you can volunteer or at least send funds to help with the victims of this earthquake, that would be much appreciated. So, so this happened. If you want to just, Google CNN, so on and so forth. Unfortunately, there are other things that are going on in the United States. There are floods that are going on in the south of the United States. There's been some violent shootings that has gone on. So these recent events that happened in the United States kind of cover up, or we're so busy media-wise here looking at things in the United States that what happened in the Philippines may not have caught our attention or may not have been covered. But if you are of Philippine descent, if you do have family members in the Philippines, please look this up. There are some fundraisers in the area that we want to bring light to that are actually setting help for the Philippines. Now, of course, the Filipino community of Seattle, they're always very active in their fundraising, and they're usually right on it when something happens. There are some GoFundMe accounts, and I just have one GoFundMe account here that somebody set up, and I'll send you this link real quick, Daniel. And this is just something that somebody did to send funds to the Philippines. You can pull this up. This is really nice. Julia Urbanus is organizing a fundraiser. And I just want to give attention to that because it doesn't look like she's a part of a giant organization, but she's doing what she can to send some people some funds to the Philippines. And there you go. There's a fund. It's a GoFundMe account. Okay. So, if you know of any victims there, if there's something that you can do, you can help the big organizations, but there are still people who really want to service our community, and Google them and send them your love and send them if you can't help or you can't volunteer, please send some money. So thank you for sharing that, Daniel. But yeah, if you're actively involved in any of these Philippine organizations, it's only like 4 or 5 days ago that this tragedy actually happened, and we're just getting news of it now. Some people are not even privy to it happening because they're so involved in the community events here locally. But if you are part of an association, a Philippine organization, please bring this disaster to the attention of your board and your association to see if you can organize a fundraiser for victims of the earthquake in the Philippines yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I have a lot of relatives still in the Philippines. I haven't heard from them to see if this has affected them. And was it mainly in the provinces, or did it affect major metro areas? Tina, do you know?
Well, I don't know exactly because I don't know the terrain of the Philippines, but I know it was the northern part of the Philippines.
Okay.
There's a lot of, like CNN has reported on this, and all the major news stations have. So it's a place where economically it could really hurt the Philippines. Otherwise, they wouldn't even be showing it.
Yeah.
I mean, even if one part of the country is affected, the whole economy, it offers a burden on the financial whereabouts of the whole entire country. We're in the United States, and we have the luxury of having, funds and everything at our disposal, and there's plenty of assistance, so on and so forth. But other countries around the world may not have the resources we do to help people. I mean, they have 15,000 people displaced. I mean, could you imagine the houses that need the shelters that need to be in place to house that many people?
Yeah.
131 injured. I mean, they still have people that are missing. So they're still going through that turmoil. Now, when this happens also, our cell phones and stuff, we use this as a life source. When something's happening, a tragedy, we call 911, we call our loved ones. Well, what happens when cell phone towers go out and nobody has Wi-Fi? You can't call for help if an earthquake takes out your infrastructure.
Right.
So even though this happened 5 days ago, they are still in the midst of it. There are still people who have not been reached. You don't even know what's going on there because the media is shut down. It's not like here, we just have pop-up, Wi-Fi's and cellular towers, and everything just gets diverted to the next closest tower. I mean, it's a different country. And they don't have resources. They may not be able to even get on TikTok or Instagram. We may not even know the gist of what's going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are at the halfway mark, but when we come back, Violeta is going to be talking a little bit about some houses, how to make sure you're earthquake proof, and how to prepare for something here if we should experience an earthquake in Colorado or in Washington.
Yes.
Tune in to Real Estate and Money every Tuesday afternoon from 2:30 to 3 here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Join your hosts Violeta Strash with John L. Scott Kent North and Tina Lombard with Guaranteed Rate Affinity. They'll help you navigate the waters of our volatile real estate market and offer you some guidance on how to make your hard-earned money work to make your dreams come true. Learn about current trends, get tips on financial matters, and have fun, interactive discussions about your home inside and out. That's Real Estate and Money.
Okay. Yes. What do you do in your home? I mean, Seattle is bound to have that big one come through here at some point. So we either be prepared now or try to figure out what to do at the moment. And hopefully the moment won't be here while I'm here.
Yeah.
Wait till much later. That would be good. But, what happens when you have an earthquake? The ground shakes, things fall off, walls, shelves, your house would shift too. If that were the case, and utilities get damaged, people get hurt, and we want to make sure that your life and those are your loved ones, you're all safe during this dangerous time. And we want to talk about a little on what you can do to prepare for an earthquake. And controlling utilities is one big thing, right, Tina? If something happens, gas, water, electricity, those are all key things that you're going to need to worry about. Gas, turn off. Oh, actually, they're telling you now not to turn it off. There's been, I don't know why, but during the following big disaster, individual homes will be the lowest priority, next to, like, first would be the hospitals, for example, and then big buildings, apartments and all that. But if you don't smell gas or hear it escaping, and I don't know if people know what gas smells like, it's a foul sulfuric odor. and you'll know if there's a gas leak. Something's not going to smell right immediately, and you can hear a hissing noise coming from the tanks. But they're telling you, if you don't smell anything, don't turn it off. It's harder to turn things back on. You're going to need to get an electrician out there. But if you do smell gas or hear a leak, then you turn off that gas and just contact your gas company, and then have them come and inspect your system after the earthquake disaster has gone through its course. The water becomes a precious resource, right? Some people say, if you know it's coming, fill up your right, with water, potable water, so you have something to survive off of. Should you not be able to use the faucets, public sewer access at the time. And turn off the water until you hear from the authorities that it's safe to do that. Find out soon, for all of these, gas, electricity, water, call your utility department and find out if you don't know how to turn it off. Every system is different. So make sure you know ahead of time what to do. Anything else on that? Electrical shut off. Locate your circuit box and flip the main breaker to the off position to turn off the electricity to the entire house or your apartment unit. And if you're using a generator, because we've experienced here in Washington a lot of power outages in the winter time, people have been getting generators, but make sure you're not overloading the system by hooking a lot of things on. What do you need? Just heat, a heat source, right? So if it's the gas fireplace to power on, the generator will take care of that. Just a little bit of electricity in select parts of your home. And then don't use the generator inside your home. Just like don't bring your barbecue with a propane tank inside your home. You're going to create a fire. And then you won't have a home after all. Doesn't matter about the earthquake. You've done something that you shouldn't be doing. Just be safe. Do not bring your barbecue in, and don't bring your generator into your home.
Right.
What else about those three utilities can you think of, Tina?
The thing is with the earthquake, nobody plans for an earthquake. I mean, like there's a storm coming or a snowstorm or something, you can plan like a week ahead. Earthquake is a surprise. So some of the utilities, you're freaking out at that point. Things could be broken, just like Dee was saying. So you may have some stuff. You want to have like bottled water or some water that's put away in case there is an earthquake. Canned food in case there is an earthquake. Some things with earthquake you can't plan for, but things like safety, like to run underneath a doorway, to run underneath the side of the table, that sort of thing.
Away from exterior walls.
Away from exterior walls.
Yeah, underneath a big piece of furniture, run under there. And if you have big pieces of furniture that could possibly topple over, strap them to the wall.
That's right.
We do that. Big, armoire or, china cabinet, whatever. Make sure it's secured from the back of the furniture to the wall. That'll save a lot of broken things and paintings and all that stuff too.
And, if you're in an older building, the last earthquake that happened was like almost 20 years ago. And, that was the last real big one we had. And I had a lot of brokers I would visit. I would go visit their offices. A couple of the offices were older, built in like the 40s or the 50s. Some of the offices actually collapsed. And the people did not listen to standing at the doorway they did listen. They stood underneath the doorway and they stood and went underneath the desk. But the building was shaking so violently, they actually got scared and ran outside, which was a good thing because then the building did collapse. So I don't know, you may have to go with gut instincts sometimes, but I say all that to say, if you are in an older building, just check to see what their earthquake permits, whatever, if it's up to par with earthquake refurbishing or restoration, or some of the buildings I know built in downtown Seattle are retrofitted for earthquakes. and some of them are not. And I know our church that I was in, I was at Immaculate Conception, and they had cracks all through that thing. It's a wonder the thing didn't fall down. But find out if you do own a commercial building, or if you do work in a commercial building, or even in a condo situation, find out, ask, if we are in an earthquake, are we retrofitted? Are we prepared? When is the last time this building has been inspected by somebody certified, a structural engineer? When is the last time? Even the decks of your house, there's a lot of decks in houses that if there's an earthquake, the deck's coming down, second floor is coming down, the shed's coming down, that unpermitted room that you built in the back is coming down. So these are things you want to think of now. I mean, Seattle's been due for the big one for like the last 30, 40, 50 years, not so much here in Colorado, but where we're at, but you guys are on a fault.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there is no such thing as earthquake proof. There's no such thing because, it's a nature, force of nature. And what are you going to do? You never know when it's coming. And when Tina talks about retrofitting commercial buildings, I read that 1980, if your structure was built before 1980, you need to check out the retrofitting for securing the structure, because it can be, I know you were talking about downtown buildings. The last earthquake we had, I actually felt the building kind of move side to side. It rolls.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So they put stuff in the foundation to make it flow with the earthquake motion. And then just maybe bolt your house down to the foundation if that's an issue where you live.
Yes. I remember when I was living in my house, I was during the earthquake, I was dressed, I was about to leave, and this is like early afternoon or something. And I stood in my doorway and I watched my house. I watched my bedroom roll.
Whoa.
Oh, it's like a mushroom chip, which is rolling. It's like, why is it rolling? And my house was built, I think in 1997 or something.
Oh,
so it was retrofitted. So I have I had some cracks resulting from the earthquake, but my house did roll. And it was interesting. It was very interesting because I was on a hill. So it's not a bad idea if you think your house is kind of, get a structural engineer out there, get some construction work and it's a home inspection and see if it's something that you need to pay attention to.
Yeah. And, wood framed construction fares better during earthquakes than brick. Brick will collapse and fall. And sorry about that. I'm looking at this thing here. What are the chances your building will be intact? There will be cracks like Tina was talking about on the walls. If it's, plaster or cement, and just be prepared. Call the Seattle Office of Emergency Planning and find out what's happening in your community. If it's prone to, what do you call that? Erosion too. During earthquakes, land will slip away. But here's one thing to do, you guys. To have a family hazard hunt. Go around your house. Be prepared, way before. Like now. Do this now. With your family, go around. Imagine that the ground is shaking and you're in a quake-safe location. Look around and look at the items in your home and see what's going to cause injury or damage. And then fix it now.
Right. That's good. That's really good. Let me send you a link really quick. I saw this link. I want to share it with people. And Dan, if you can just bring it up for just a quick second. But it's just an earthquake resource, and by state, it shows you by state all the resources you have in case there's an earthquake or to prepare for an earthquake. And on that link, it actually shows like Washington State. And if you want to just scroll down to Colorado and then Washington, Daniel, just really quickly. So it goes on, then you go, okay, stop right there at Colorado. See Colorado, there's some resources there. It tells you where the heightened spots for earthquakes are prone to happen, earthquake information. And if you go on down to Washington State, There's a bunch. There you go. Thank you. There's a lot of information there about earthquakes in Washington, the faults and seismic activity. And, we do have a little bit of a leadway if the faults are about to pop. But those are resources. I know it's not important now, but, on your leisure time, look through that. And the information that V is giving you is very, very valid. If the big one should occur, you're going to be that more prepared if you just take a quick look at that link.
And then in the meantime, think about all the different people around the world who are suffering through natural disasters, in particular the Philippines with the earthquake situation happening there right now. They could use help. Let's take a look and see how we can do that with the GoFundMe links that Tina had sent, and call the Red Cross, see what's happening out there for your community and help, because we can all do a little something from here.
And like we said, this is happening in the Philippines. This is our homeland. This is where our community comes from. And if you watch the news, you may not have watched it because they're focused on news here in the United States. So we have to actively go out and find out what's happening in the Philippines. So like I said, if you're the head of an organization or something like that, please call attention to this. There's many people in the Philippines that would really, really need our help.
Well, we're out of time. So we want to thank everyone for joining us today. And thank you, Tina. It's good to see you as always. Daniel, thank you for all your help. Yeah. And we will see you next Tuesday at 2:30 in Real Estate and Money on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Listening to Real Estate and Money with your hosts, Violeta Strash and Tina Lombard. For more information, call 206-717-4490. That's 206-717-4490. Go to the Rainier Avenue Radio.world website to find the Real Estate and Money schedule, or tune in to our live show every Tuesday afternoon from 2:30 to 3. We will help you